Hello everybody, welcome to Kabbalah for All show. Today we have a very special show. It will deal with something you probably heard about, dissemination, and we want to clarify with Rav Leitman what makes it so important and how is it related to dissemination, to the spreading of the wisdom of Kabbalah in Israel and many viewers we have on TV. And why is it something so important in the personal, spiritual development of all of us? So we'll read a few paragraphs today, and you are invited to send your questions to kab.coil, and our team will answer your questions. So let's start with the first paragraph. Okay. So it is from the introduction to the book Panim Meirot Masbirot of Baal HaSulam, item 5. Now you will understand what is written in the Zohar. With this composition, the children of Israel will be redeemed from exile. Also in many other places, only through the expansion of the wisdom of Kabbalah in the masses will be obtained complete redemption. They also said, the light in it reforms him. They were initially meticulous about it to show us that only the light enclosed within it, like apples of gold in settings of silver, in it lies the cure that reforms a person. Both the individual and the nation will not complete the aim for which they were created, except by attaining the internality of the Torah and its secrets. And although we hope for the complete attainment at the coming of the Messiah, it is written, will give wisdom to the wise. It also says, I have put wisdom in the heart of every wise at heart. Hence, it is the great expansion of the wisdom of truth within the nation that we need first, so we may merit receiving the benefit from our Messiah. Consequently, the expansion of the wisdom and the coming of our Messiah are interdependent. Therefore, we must establish seminaries and compose books to hasten the distribution of the wisdom throughout the nation. So what can we see from here? That really only through the development, the spreading and the dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah, we can be rewarded with the correction of the world and attain the purpose of creation that needs to be attained, and not in an evil way, in the way of suffering, rather through the path of light. Therefore we need the wisdom of Kabbalah, and we need it to expand, and we need to put our entire heart and intention into it. And when we are looking back at history, so the first one to disseminate the wisdom of Kabbalah was Abraham, the patriarch. Rambam writes about him that in this ancient Babylon, but over 3,500 years ago, when Abraham disclosed the wisdom of Kabbalah, he started discovering that humanity is meant to come from the great crisis that they had back then, a global crisis, which took place in this ancient Babylon, where the ego erupted and they wanted to exit it, but they didn't know how. They started hating one another, they stopped understanding one another, and then he asking, what is happening with my people? He was one of their great priests. He used to make idols and sell them. And what happened to them? And then he discovered the wisdom of Kabbalah, that the entire nature and the entire development in nature comes only in order to bring men to reveal the upper force, to the revelation of the force of love and bestowal. And we come to it through disseminating that program, that plan, that method of correction of how to come and identify with the Creator, because man is called man in order to be similar, to resemble the Creator. This is why he's called Adam, man. And he started publicizing this wisdom, and thousands of people joined him. These thousands followed him from Babel to the land of Israel in the direction of the land of Canaan. And this is how Abraham took care of them and taught them that method. He organized a big group out of them, which is called the House of Abraham. And he actually founded this entire method of the correction of soul inside man. And through the soul, when a man corrects this internal vessel of him, he begins to feel the internal spiritual life of his. And ever since, this group, which called itself the people of Israel, it exists. As a result, that it disseminated the wisdom of Kabbalah into herself. And this is what happened until the destruction of the temple. They lived from the exit of Babylon until the destruction of the second temple. They lived in the disclosure, the revelation of spirituality, godliness. They felt the upper force, the upper worlds, the eternity of nature, the Creator. And only after the destruction of the temple, we descended from the height of love thy friend as thyself. Like Rabbi Akiva spoke about that rule has to be kept. We fell into unfounded hatred, and this is actually the destruction. And ever since onward, we are in a destruction. We are in exile from spirituality. Even today, we are in the land of Israel, but this is not the land of Israel. This is also the same exile as we were previously. The geographical state doesn't influence us at all. We can see it. Although we have a nation, we have a country, and we have our own place, it doesn't mean that we're really in a state which is called the people of Israel, in the land of Israel. Because a nation, people, what united us was Abraham, with the rule, love thy friend as thyself. And it is written in the wisdom of Kabbalah that we have to publicize this rule to the rest of the world. And my home will be called a house of prayer to all nations. And until we won't reach that state, until we won't publicize Kabbalah to everyone, we won't realize our destiny, because that's the only reason we exist for. And anti-Semitism exists in order to hasten the wisdom of dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah, to compel us to bring it to the nations of the world. And the nations of the world say that we are to blame for everything that happens in the world, which is bad. And it is truly so, because we don't hurry up and we don't bring them the method of correction of the world and the souls. So it all depends on the wisdom of Kabbalah and its dissemination, because that brings the world the revelation of the Creator, where everybody understands why they exist, for how to exist, how to determine everything in life. Like we had a little bit of it before the destruction of the temple, but we lost the wisdom of Kabbalah in that destruction. And then those Kabbalists who existed during those 2,000 years in every generation, chosen few, they closed deliberately, they hid the wisdom of Kabbalah. They waited till our days, when now we are in the beginning of the 21st century. And it was written in advance already in the book of Zohar that from the end of the 20th century, that wisdom, as the Zohar says, it has to be publicized once again. And as Kabbalists used to close the wisdom of Kabbalah, well, on the contrary, they publicize different rumors that it is forbidden to study the wisdom of Kabbalah only for chosen few, and from the age of 40 and more and more and more. And they frightened the people and prevented them from coming closer to it. Now, when the time has come, then all the Kabbalists from the days of the Ari onward, they all said that we have to hurry up and disseminate the wisdom of Kabbalah as soon as possible, first among the people of Israel, and then all over the world. And only through that, as it says here, can we reach the coming of the Messiah, meaning the manifestation of a special force in our world. That's a special consciousness in us, that we will understand what is our destiny, why do we live for, how to reach eternal life, because the Torah is called actually the means to reach eternal life. as it is written, it is craved on your heart, meaning craved the freedom, meaning the Torah is the freedom from the angel of death, meaning we transcend the level of this living organism to the living of the speaking, Adam, he who resembles the Creator. And this is what we can come to here and now. As it says, you should see your world in your life. Therefore, everything depends on the dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah. But there is a dissemination, which is internal dissemination into us, among those who already came to the question, why are we living, for what is the meaning of our life, and then they are brought according to their deficiency. The upper light brings them to a place where they can study the wisdom of Kabbalah. Then they come to us, and then we have over 2 million students all over the world which are connected to us in certain levels. And there is the external dissemination. With our students, we have to try and reach unity as much as possible, which is internal unity among us, in such a way that that force of connection will be so big, so strong, that we will discover in it the upper light. It is like we are putting pressure on something, let's say on some matter, and if we reach a certain amount, then this matter turns into something new. Same thing if we, with our desire to unite, if we come to a certain amount of pressure, a special desire, avut, unity in one heart, then we discover in that special amount of pressure the upper light, the quality of Biso, which is mutual to all of us, which already begins to fill us up. And then in that quality of Biso, we reveal the Creator, which is also amongst us. Everything we discover through the connection between us. Therefore, there is this issue of disseminating the wisdom of Kabbalah to our friends inside a group, and as a result we want to build the stimulator and the arvut mechanism, which will help us as soon as possible to connect according to the rule that we had in the status of Mount Sinai, to be as one man with one heart, love thy friend as thyself. If we want to unite, then the upper light operates accordingly and connects us. So first we have to come to it we ourselves, the people of Israel, and then to show it to the rest of the world, that there is a force of unity, and there is the upper light, the upper force, the presence of the Creator in that force, also in the people of Israel. And then the whole world will see it and feel it. Well, they already feel it to a certain degree. We can see in all the nations that are coming to us to study and to unite with us. Many people. And every day new people are coming to us. So we will be rewarded that everybody will know me, from children to adults, because my house will be called a prayer house for all nations. And all that depends on the internal and external dissemination of Kabbalah. And we have to, as Baal Sulam says, to compose new books, lighter books, according to different styles and what people are used to write it in an easy language for children, women, adults, for every nation, different nations, according to their nature, so that they will have a greater ability, so that it will be easier for them to hold on to this godly wisdom, which is meant for everyone. And then we will reach a state where we will be as one group, and the Creator will be revealed in all of reality, and it all depends on dissemination. Therefore, we as an organization of Bnei Baruch, who follows the method and path of Baal Sulam and his elder son, my teacher, Rabash, so therefore we call ourselves Bnei Baruch, the sons of Baruch, the elder son of Baal Sulam. So we take their entire method and all their advices, and we try to realize them as much as we can. Yes. I wanted to ask, I assume that there are many viewers and students of yours all over Israel and perhaps in the world who heard you say many times about the importance of dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah. On the other hand, whenever we come to disseminate, there is a resistance and it's very hard for a person to do something in practice. Where does this difficulty stems from? That difficulty stems from various reasons. One reason, it is simply our ordinary laziness of the body, who doesn't want to move so much because it doesn't see any reward. If I would have known that I'm now going to disseminate for a few hours, half a day, and then I'm rewarded with something big, then it would have been easy for me to do it because the reward would have paid off as compared to the effort that I have to do. Now I know that I have to make an effort. I'm going to get into places where I might be embarrassing, disseminating the paper. People might not want to see me and my paper, because from the time of the Exile there are people who don't understand that the wisdom of Kabbalah is our salvation, and this is what we need now. And therefore they still have some prejudice against the wisdom of Kabbalah, ancient prejudice over 2,000 of years old from the time of the Exile. Well, in short, everything in sum total, it is that I don't feel that I receive an enormous reward for my effort, that my advancement don't have more important mean and useful mean than dissemination. I can tell you about myself. When I came to the Rabash, at the year of 1979, I brought people to him. I gave lectures in Tel Aviv in different places. Brought there many students to him to study Kabbalah. At the year of 83 and 84, I printed my first 3 books of Kabbalah, small books, light books. But still, as a result, many more people came to study. He knew that I will constantly deal with it. And I organized a few of the students I brought to give lectures and disseminate Kabbalah as well. That was in the days of the Rabash. And I really forced him to write articles for us, and today we have the articles of society, which we cannot appreciate them enough, and we don't understand how helpful and important they are. They give us light to our path. I begged him, actually, I pleaded him until he allowed me to record his lessons, and I disseminated everything among everyone. We have about almost 2,000 tapes of audio tapes of his lessons, and more things I did by his side. When he passed away, I started bringing out everything that I had from his archive that he left for me as his successor. The book of Shamati, which he specially gave me already in the beginning of my study with him, I immediately printed it, and other of his writings. And students came, and I started teaching till now. It's been over 20 years. Well, yesterday it was this year, in this Rosh Hashanah, in Yom Kippur Eve, it will be 20 days for his departure. And I think everything we have attained, I'm not saying I have attained, rather me and everyone else, it is only thanks to dissemination. Thanks to dissemination only. We printed many books in many languages. We've done many activities all over the world. The spiritual investment doesn't disappear, although the people who were with us, it's either they left, died, doesn't matter. These things work in the world, and this is a great miracle indeed. and the beauty of the wisdom of Kabbalah, because the only thing you invest remains forever. So this is my question exactly. I assume many people will identify with what you say in the beginning. I know many people who are prepared to listen and even watch the channel, but between that to go and hand out papers and be seeing, there's a huge gap between the two things. And you talked about the reward that everyone receives when he disseminates. So what is the reward, personal reward, that I get from disseminating the wisdom? What? Do I overcome my ego or what? Well, I didn't go out to hand out papers ever, truthfully. Only I know about myself that I've been in different places, different talks and lectures. I disseminated in the Catholic University in Chicago. I disseminated in Russia to religious Russian people, met Muslims and Protestants in the USA, everybody. And I presented myself as a Jew and as a Kabbalist with a yarmulke over my head. And I was in different big forums of scientists and influential people in different places in the world, from Tokyo to Rio de Janeiro, Santiago, all over the world. Arosa. I know only one thing. When I'm going to talk about the wisdom of Kabbalah, or to present it to people, and to start with people who are anti, they don't want to see a Jew, they want to see a religious Jew, they don't want to hear about the wisdom of Kabbalah at all. This is Torah, etc., etc., etc. I know only one thing. I transcend them and I transcend myself. I am spoken from soul to souls. This is how I address them. Therefore, I really didn't see ever that people received me with rejection eventually. On the contrary, there were many people, always, the majority of them, who really appreciated me and showed interest and stay in contact with me. And as a result, we have many good results. Well, I'm not looking at people who don't have, well, how can I put it? This is the way they are. They're incapable of behaving differently. If you're talking especially about the Jews in the land of Israel, they heard for 2,000 years that the wisdom of Kabbalah is prohibited, it's forbidden, this is mysticism, pulsa denura, bad forces, evil forces. What? Don't I remember myself in Nebrak? I remember many things. Well, there was this time when I left, came out of the lesson, I took the book in my hand and I wanted to duplicate a key, and I put the book of Kabbalah on the counter in the shop, the Tree of Life of the Ari, with the Ari. I studied it with the Rabash in the middle of the day, alone, separately with him. I remember it as if it was now in Bnei Brak, the shopkeeper. All he had to do was duplicate a key for me. What's the problem? He told me, well, take this book away from here, and then I'll make you a key. I remember how frightened he was, a young, strong guy, 30 years old. Well, we have to understand that we are a result of the exile. 2,000 years exile, and it still works. It's very hard to correct those things. It's very hard to explain that suddenly it all stopped, especially when you are working in this area all alone. But you see, the time is with us, that the upper force is with us, that still you can see how much we penetrate the people and how much we explain, and it is all being accepted and absorbed, this concept. Therefore, I don't think that this year It will be interesting to see when you will go out before Rosh Hashanah, the New Year, to hand out papers. I would have been happy to do it, but I keep thinking which makeup I should put on so people won't recognize me. Because you meet people in the street, although they might reject you, this is a connection nonetheless, and through that we will know how to disseminate better, how to present our material better. Therefore, I think there is no replacement. We have to do it by ourselves, to go and give and hand papers away, and to try that contact, direct contact. This is something good, very good. David from Ashkelon is asking about the words of Baal HaSulam and what you explained. What is the connection between the coming of the Messiah? People in the world are waiting for the Messiah for thousands of years, to the act of dissemination. How things are related? What does he think the Messiah is? I don't know. Messiah is called the same quality of love and bestow which will dwell in the world and will fulfill all of us. That is called the Messiah. Messiah, that is the force which pulls us from unfounded hatred to the love of brothers. This is what the Messiah is. When we're all in a level which is hatred, to a level which is called love. That's it. In the love, here I feel the Creator. My life, eternal life already, because I live not in me, rather outside of me. This is an extra-bodial kind of life, eternal life. I am unlimited. However, when I live in hatred, I only feel myself here. I only feel myself. And then, my life are short life, only the life of my body, that's it. Meaning, let's say I live for 70 years, as it is written. And therefore, that means that the Torah is a means for eternity, for the freedom from the angel of death. And this is something we have to reach now. This whole life for man has to be now, during my present life in this world right and now. As Kabbalists do, everybody has to come to it. And that transition, that ascent can happen through the light that reforms, which is called the light of the Torah, which comes to us only as a result of the study of the wisdom of Kabbalah, dissemination, and more, precisely and especially in the wisdom of Kabbalah. So it turns out that dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah and dissemination of the method for the correction of the soul and disseminating the method for attracting that light, that upper force to rise us to the degree of eternity, that will pull us over there, and that is called the Messiah. It's the same thing. Baal HaSulam writes in the article, The Messiah's Horn, the dissemination of the wisdom of Kabbalah all over the world, that is called the Messiah's Horn. A viewer from Netanya writes that he studies with us for a while, and he's very excitement, and he tried to tell people about it at work and try and disseminate, and he received very bad responses. So he asks, how do you recommend that we go out and explain about the wisdom of Kabbalah to people? What should we do? Well, I don't know where he is and which people he's involved with. Usually, in our dissemination, we act in a very gentle kind of way. We don't go out in aggressive dissemination ever, except for the dissemination of paper, where we only hand out papers. Well, if you want to, you can take it. If you don't want to, don't take it. Our TV channel, you can get in, you can watch it or not. Our internet channel, you can watch it or not. But we never go and shove it to people through different media a few times a day where they keep hearing about us. No, we don't do that. Because there is no coercion in spirituality. Therefore, the wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't come to people through pressure. Rather, the whole process that we want to take place is that everybody will know that it exists. That's it. If every person in the world will know that there is a method where he can transcend his level of existence in this world to a higher level of existence, where he will begin feeling the reality beyond this universe, where he can observe things in a transparent way, he can watch the forces that are working and activating him, he will be able to see everything. If he has a certain tendency for that, so that person should only know that it exists, our site, our channel, TV 66 channel, our internet channel, but if it doesn't have it, it means that he's not ripe yet. Therefore, we have to leave him alone and we mustn't touch him in such a case. Therefore, I don't know in which cases our people are bumping into. But I think that from one year to another, I see the vast changes that are happening, and it's going to be even stronger. And I hope that the result will prevent different suffering, problems, crises that are standing online before of the close human history. And that we will reach the correction and the goal, our collective goal, in a nice way. Yes. Perhaps we will read another paragraph about the connection between dissemination and personal advancement. So Baal HaSulam writes in an article, The Messiah's Horn, "And who better than I knows that I am not at all worthy of being even a messenger and a scribe for disclosing such secrets, and much less to thoroughly understand them. And why has the Creator done so to me? It is only because the generation is worthy of it, as it is the last generation which stands at the threshold of complete redemption. And for this reason it is worthy of beginning to hear the voice of the Messiah's shofar horn, which is the revealing of the secrets, as has been explained." So again, why was he rewarded of what he was rewarded? Because he had to disseminate the wisdom of Kabbalah. As simple as that. Every one of us is going to feel that. How much, and to the extent that he's been advanced in every step of his life, this part of his life, first, second, third part of life, we can see that already. So everything is also connected to his participation with others and his ability and what they want to appoint on him as his part in disseminating the wisdom of Kabbalah. Everything is meant for disseminating. There is never a personal calculation with any of us. I know it about myself. I'm aware of it. There is no calculation. There is another group, more people, according to what they have to do, I develop. Only like that. That is with every one of us. Every one of us is like a woman who is supposed to give birth. There's someone to give birth to, then she has an addition. There's no one to give birth to, so she remains closed. It's the same with us. The soul is very small. Only by connecting to others and transferring through you to them the light, only as a result you become impregnated with them, conceived with them like a pregnant woman. That's the only way. And therefore, the connection, dissemination, observing more new people, that means the expansion of the soul, of each of us. Yes. Well, we're talking about several conditions that we have in our personal development. We are talking about the study, about the term of drawing the reforming light, connecting to our friends. So how does dissemination fit into our personal development, and how is it connected to all these conditions? Without it, there will be no correction of the world. You see, I gave an example. I started with Avraham. What happened to him? He was one of their biggest priests in ancient Babylon, next to Nimrod, as Yosef Flavius writes about it, and others. Also the Greeks wrote about a lot about it. Rambam wrote about it. So we have very many sources ever since. And the moment he discovered the wisdom of Kabbalah to himself, on his own expense, to himself, on his flesh, when it was revealed to him that this is how one can fulfill himself and tries to eternal degree, the natural way that now clothes in him the form of dissemination, bestow the love of the other, compels him to do so to others. Who, for the God, is with me? You turn to everyone, but who wants to? Love, bestow, compels you to do so. That status oblige you to behave in such a way. Therefore, we shouldn't be in any other calculations. The maximum possible dissemination everywhere. Only what? Not in an aggressive way. In such a way that you present it to people. Well, if they're ready, they take it. If not, then not yet. Meaning a person should determine how much he wants to be involved, but it is our duty to put it in front of every person. Well, we say that the light is a special remedy that corrects me, develops me. If I connect to the friends, I reveal the parts of my soul. What is that component of dissemination give to my advancement? The fact that I disseminate, how does it develop me? Because as a result, you build your soul. We are in one point. This is what I have from my soul. This is my reshimo. And this reshimo, this is where I am. This is what is revealed to me, what we call the point in the heart. This is what is revealed. All the rest of the souls outside of me, this is all my soul. These points, which are here in the spiritual space, when I begin to connect to them, if I acquire them, if I attach them to me, that is called my soul. My soul. Only in the degree of nefesh, I connected more to me. It's the same soul in the degree of ruach, then the degree of neshama, then the degree of chaya, and then the degree of yechida. Or the worlds. If I attach to myself a little bit, then it's called the world of Asiyah, then Yetzirah, Briah, Adam Kadmon, Atzilut, Adam Kadmon. And when they all connect together, all of them connect together, that's a sign of connection. Then it's called the world of Ein Sof. So my connection, where else do I get this feeling of reality, worlds, parzufim, sfirot, creator, creatures? Everything is in what I connect to myself. The parts, these strange parts. Therefore, love thy friend as thyself. It is the law of the connection of all the parts into one soul. It's not that I have to love them. I have to connect them. I have to attach them to me. To connect them to me. And when I do, I'm in love. That means love thy friend, thy friend. Meanwhile, that part is strange to me, is alien to me, the others. But when I connect it, I discovered that this is a part of my soul. Well, I didn't know that before. From here it's clear to us what it means to be as one man with one heart, love thy friend as thyself. That this is a great rule, great conclusive in the Torah, because it concludes everything. Then I come from my point to building my soul. All of it. And there I discover inside that soul the upper light and the Creator. Therefore it is called Israel. The light and the Creator are one. Israel is the same point, which is Yesharkei, direct to the Creator, which craves for the Creator. Oraita, the Torah, the light, is that means that help me connect to everyone else. And Kodesh Brichu, the Creator, is the general light which I discover in me, the conclusive quality of bestowal. So I want to ask something else. If I go out and hand out these papers and I understand I connect that like that, I connect the parts of my soul. So you're actually going out to search for your parts of your soul. But as Erez read, I receive a negative response, but I have to connect to them. No, you don't have to connect with him. You have to participate with his sorrow. You have to understand that he's not ready for it yet. But there will be people who weren't ready in last year, and this year they are really close friends of ours. So only when everybody will agree to take the paper for me, only then will I advance? No, you will advance according to your investment. The fact that those people still resist, this is the plan of creation. That's the plan of the Creator, who awakens these but not the others. Well, we have a plan about each and every soul, how he awakens everything. It's like in the body. When the body is ill, so these parts heal first and only others later. These are systems which interdepend on one another. So we don't do calculation. I just want to give to everyone. I just want to give the opportunity to everyone. You don't want to? Well, excuse me, in a nice, kind manner. That's it. They should see us only like that. We want to give you. Between us, that's a gift. You don't want to? Well, excuse me. No harm done. And to understand them, we should understand them, that those opinions and everything, this is a charge of 2,000 years. Kabbalists themselves, they twisted things in such a way that people are afraid and till now. But I think that in a few years we won't see it at all anymore. Today, the wisdom of Kabbalah, doesn't matter which kind of Kabbalah. Well, they teach you in different synagogues. People give lectures on the radio, on TV. People who are so far from the wisdom of Kabbalah, but they want to appear special, so they say that they're in it, they study it. Also among people who always hated the wisdom of Kabbalah and rejected it, they too use that name in order to draw people and to reform people. So it's working. So we should have a little bit more patience. We will hand out few more millions of newspapers and everything will be fine. Okay? Our student from Moscow, she's asking whether educating my child according to the wisdom of Kabbalah is considered dissemination. Of course. Of course. In the beginning, you were talking about inner dissemination. I understand what it means, external dissemination, to come here, take a paper and disseminate it on the street. But what does it mean, inner dissemination? Inner dissemination means that we disseminate to one another the importance of the goal and the Creator, and that gives us the power to work above reason and to reach Lishma. We will study it tomorrow morning. I was asked to summarize the article, so tomorrow morning we will learn it. We will learn about it. So the internal dissemination is to give each of us the force, the power and without recognizing the importance of the goal. When you are impressed from your friends, we don't see the goal. We don't know why, how, whatever for, whether we are in the environment of books and friends and a teacher. And all of them are brainwashing us. We are impressed from what they are doing. The environment influences man. And he truly begins to feel that the goal is important. And to the extent that he feels it to be important, he can act in its direction. Therefore, the inner dissemination, where we disseminate to all of us and others the importance of the goal, it is a resource of our forces, and accordingly we can get up, work, and especially work against our reason, against our mind and nature. If in the ordinary life, well, I know in the end of the day I gain 200 shekels, should I work or not? 500 shekels? Well, of course, 1,000 shekels a day. Well, I will work with all my forces. However, if I need to have 10 or 20 shekels and this is what I'm given, then I'm working accordingly. That reward doesn't shine on me that much. But if we, who don't see the spiritual reward, if we got the impression from the environment that this is a very big reward, infinite, and everybody are so impressed, then I can come to it also above, in faith above reason, also in Lo Lishma, not for her name. So I can transcend my nature. To such an extent, the reward seems to me worth it. So I'm in the direction for it, inclination for it. I hasten the path. Well, it's not the topic now, but the inner dissemination is meant to form the group and for the advancement of all of us. After we attain the external kelim, meaning we can't have one without the other. What do I have in the internal dissemination if I don't attach to myself more parts from the general soul, from the rest of humanity? You just said that the reward of dissemination is not apparent. Why is it so? Why is there a prevention for a person to know exactly what comes out of this act of dissemination? Why is it concealed? What does a person want from dissemination? He wants to reveal the Creator's spirituality, something internal, sublime, which he doesn't feel or see. Therefore, it is not revealed to him. Of course, it's not revealed to him. Do you know exactly? If I'm telling you, work, do this and that, correct this and that, you will get 1,000 shekels. So you know what 1,000 shekel is. You know exactly what you can buy with it. You have an idea of how important it is. However, in spirituality, you don't know. Now you're going out to disseminate a paper. What will it give it to me? I can understand 1,000 shekels. But what will I get in exchange for the newspaper? 2.5 sfirot? I don't know what it is. Here is the problem. Therefore, we have the environment, the friends, the group, and they tell us and they oblige each of us. Well, they stimulate each of us so that the reward is big. Yes. I understand what you're saying about the environment. I just don't understand. In the thought of creation, in the general plan, why is it not revealed? Oh, I know. Because that's clear. If it would have been revealed to you that I received, let's say, not 1,000 shekels, rather $1 billion, okay? Half a day I disseminate papers in the corner of a street and I get $1 billion for it. Then I'm working for $1 billion. So I expand my vessel of receptacle and I never reach bestow. I remain as a beast in this world. I don't rise. Where is my first diagram? I don't rise to the spiritual degree, to the degree of love and bestowal. I remain in the degree of the beast, in the degree of inanimate. You understand? In order to rise to the degree of the Creator, we have to rise from reception to bestow. And we can do it only when we rise, only when we invert our kelim, our nature, and we can do it. Therefore, I said that it can be done only by the light that reforms. That's the only way. And how? By investing a lot of force and energy and by making a lot of efforts, then comes the light that reforms and makes that inversion for me. I myself are incapable of doing it. Only the light that created the will to receive can turn it to the will to bestow, and then I can be as the Creator. Is that not a reward? Well, yes, probably, yeah. This is what we say. And I agree with you, because we still don't see. Instead, if I don't see that reward, what will I do? What will I do if I don't see that reward? Therefore, the Creator is hidden, is concealed. He puts a barrier in front of him. What did he do instead of the machsom, instead of the barrier? A group. And here, this is where I am. And then he says the following: develop love, love thy friend as thyself. If you will come to it, meaning you will come to bestow, hashpa'ah. If you come to hashpa'ah, bestow to the group, and you have nothing from them, what's in them? Then, if you can transcend yourself also as a result of the light that reforms, so through the study you attract the surrounding light that turns your reception into bestowal. If you come to that, then that's it. You cross the barrier. Through the group you cross the barrier, and that means from the love of the creature to the love of the Creator. You come to it, and you come to it not bribed. Of course, along the way, if you do that inversion from reception, from wanting to receive to wanting to bestow, you turn yourself upside down. Then you come to resemble the Creator and become like Him. However, now you're opposite to Him. Therefore, this is the klipa, this is the shell, and this is kedusha, sanctity, which are opposite to one another. You mentioned in two places the light that reforms. Also in the study and in the previous drawing, you wrote that it can be attained through dissemination. Is there a difference between the actions that I do in the study and dissemination? No, there isn't any difference. In everything, everywhere where you want to reach bestowal, doesn't matter how you have the light that reforms. You awaken the light that reforms. Yes, please? So perhaps we should end with a quote that belongs to that group through which we can attain the purpose of creation from the purpose of society, the article, the purpose of society of the Rabash. And this is why we gather here to establish a society where each of us follows the spirit of bestowing upon the Creator. And to achieve bestowal upon the Creator, we must begin with bestowal upon men, which is called love of others. And love of others can only be with revoking oneself. Thus, on the one hand, each person should feel lowly, and on the other hand, be proud that the Creator has given us the chance to be in a society where each of us has but a single goal: for divinity to be among us. I don't know what I can add here. Well, to summarize, our whole life depends on dissemination. Adam Arishon, 5,770 years ago, who discovered the wisdom of Kabbalah. This is why it's called Adam Arishon, the first man, the first who reached the degree of man, he who resembles the Creator. Actually, he was the first one to disseminate. From him started generations of Kabbalists, 20 generations until Avraham, the patriarch, and from Avraham onward. So that method, if it wouldn't have been revealed artificially, why artificially? Because we say, but this is a law of nature, the law of equivalence between the Creator and the creature, the law of opposite value between lights and vessels, thousand things that we revealed. That's all true. But in our world, we wouldn't have been able to reveal that method because this is the method of the lights, and in our world they don't operate. They are swollen inside the will to receive and disappear. Therefore, this method is revealed artificially only for those who are awakened with the spark from the breakage of the vessels. Therefore, Adam Arishon is the first one to having revealed the destruction within him. That means that he's been through the sin, discovered the sin, started correcting the sin. We're also his parts. It is revealed in us as well. And we are like him. We continue the path. Therefore, because the wisdom of Kabbalah can't be revealed on its own, man can come to it. He can, see what happens during thousands of years from philosophy, psychology, and everything. See how confused they're all are, how much they can't find anything. Only when we take authentical books and process them, as Baal HaSulam says, to turn them into articles, new books, and other things. But again, we have to have that big wall behind us of great sages, great Kabbalists, authentical Kabbalists, as Moshe, Rashbi, Ha'ari, Baal HaSulam, which all stand behind us. And we, from them, we take their sources, we, the little ones, and we want to present it to the rest of humanity. So there's no reason to be afraid. I bring to humanity a great wisdom, the greatest, the ancient wisdom. The most solid wisdom with the power, with strength, with the ability. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I have no reason to make myself smaller. On the contrary, I present with love to all of humanity this method of how to correct ourselves and how to come to that place which is called the world of Ein Sof in a good way instead of in the path of suffering. We see how much it is all revealed in our world, and more from one year to another. The world is unpredictable. Our life is unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen in the following moment. Ecology, nature are closing down on us. All we do is bring an explanation to the world about everything that's happening and how to continue with our lives even in that level, in this human level, in a nice way, in a prosper way, in peace. And this is on the one hand. But to the people of Israel, this is a real salvation, because everybody are closing down on us. Everybody hate us. Everybody from one year to another, they point to us as if we are the causes for all evil in the world. And on the other hand, we, precisely in our groups and in our life, among our friends from all over the world, we see that then, through the wisdom of Kabbalah, we are rewarded of appreciation and respect and love from them, from all nations which join us. Therefore, dissemination is our life. So with those words, we will end our show, and we'll see you all again next week.